So Abigail is a movie that I had been looking forward to, not as much as some other movies, but the trailer really sold me. I was interested in this little twist on a vampire story. Thankfully, her being a vampire isn't the only twist in this movie. There are quite a few, and all of them I found to be pretty entertaining. This is a spoiler-free review, so I won't be getting into exactly what those twists are, but I will be able to talk about a lot of the things I really enjoyed about this film. But before we get into that, let's talk about the synopsis. A group of criminals are hired to kidnap a powerful person's daughter in order to hold her for ransom. After successfully kidnapping her, they must hold her for 24 hours while they wait on the demands that they've set to be met. But what they expect to be a pretty easy scheme turns out to be the most dangerous scheme of their lives, and for some of them, the last scheme of their lives. One of the things I absolutely loved about this movie is how it built its lore. It doesn't give you a huge info dump on what kind of vampire you're dealing with right in the beginning of the movie. It actually builds it throughout the film, and it keeps you guessing. One of the characters, Catherine Newton's character, actually says,
"What are we talking about, like an Anne Rice or a True Blood, Twilight?"
There's all kinds of different vampire lore, and each one of them has their own set of rules, and they go through their normal vampire checklist. Is it garlic? Is it a crucifix? Is it holy water? Is it sunlight? Is it a stake? What type of vampire are we dealing with? And I love the fact that in this universe, there has been vampire lore to kind of build off of. It makes it fun for us to be in on this journey with these characters as they try to figure it out. And think about this for a second. When is the worst time you want to try to figure out what type of vampire that you're dealing with? When they're attacking you. And what's the worst thing a vampire or any kind of monster could do when they're attacking you? Not take you seriously. And Alisha Weir, who plays our Abigail, she is phenomenal. I don't know, like, is it just me, or are child actors getting better in this generation than they were in the past? Not to say that the ones in the past were bad, but these child actors today seem to have incredible range. The most fun part about this Abigail character is how she's playing with her victims. She even says during the course of the movie,
"What can I say? I like playing with my food.
I like to play with my food." And that's something that was really frightening and entertaining, because how dare you, young lady, dance like a ballerina as you're trying to take my neck out of my throat. Is that how that works? Do you take the neck out of the throat or the throat out of the neck? I think you take the throat out of the neck. Anyway, that's not important. Another thing I really like about this Abigail character is how much she's actually in the movie. At a certain point in this movie, as it turns, she's there all the time, and you get a really good chance to explore her personality through some really good exposition. Now, some of the exposition in this movie is unfortunately a little too long, and that's where we'll get to our other characters in this movie, the people who have captured her and turns out to have been captured themselves. Before we get into that, I'd love for you guys to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you can get more reviews from me, and also check out that join button for the new channel memberships that I have that will give you exclusive content including stickers, memes, behind the scenes, and everything in between. I did not mean to rhyme all that, but you came to my channel. You came to hear me rap. No, you didn't. This cast, led by Marissa Barrera and Angus Cloud and Frank Stevens, Catherine Newton, William Catlett, and Kevin Durant, the characters that this cast embodies are all very well defined, almost to a fault. Right in the beginning of this movie, they give you a synopsis of everyone's profile, what their resume is for their criminal activities, and they do it once, and then they do it again. And at a later point in the movie, they do it for a third time. The third time is revealing a little bit more about these characters that make them more well-rounded and help you to engage and understand how everybody's involved and related to each other. But even so, I feel like they spend a little bit too much time with exposition in the beginning of this movie. It could have been cut down and we could have gotten to the action a lot sooner. Once we get to the action, you are kind of grateful that you've been given this download. And you're also grateful to the writers because these characters are a lot of fun and all of them are very unique. In that uniqueness, there's a lot of good opportunities for character moments and character interactions that are both funny.
We kidnapped a fucking vampire. A ballerina vampire.
And informative and a little bit enlightening about some of the perils that they've all gone through. And that just makes the movie more engaging. You're always going to be more engaged with a movie if you actually care about the characters involved. And the last thing I'll mention before we actually get to my final grade is the location itself. This mansion is a really fun location for this movie. They spend the majority of their time here, and this location is very dynamic. There's a lot of different rooms that the characters explore, and there's danger seemingly around every corner. There's a particular scene in the pool room that is absolutely disgusting, and I'm looking forward to you guys seeing it and gagging maybe a little bit. So how many sparks would I give Abigail? I'm going to give Abigail 3.5 sparks out of 5. I thought this movie was really fun. There's a lot of blood, there's a lot of gore, and there's surprisingly a lot of character development. Some of our characters last longer than others, and the way they go out is pretty gruesome. While we have our time with them, they're really fun to be around. So have you guys seen Abigail? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys next time.